Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be giving you my first initial thoughts and analysis on the just announced Transformers Studio Series Bumblebee movie Voyager class Starscream. Now before I delve into some of the official promo images that we do have of this figure, I first of all just want to congratulate Hasbro on how awesome it is to finally be getting some updates regarding live action movie figures. I know very recently we did get the announcement of the 1986 Studio Series figures, which in my personal opinion I absolutely love, but of course at heart I am that of a live action movie fan, and I have got to say that I am more than thrilled to see Hasbro announcing some new live action figures. Now something in which I was not expecting was that it does appear as if though the 86 movie figures will be released as part of their own wave, and then we will get a wave of live action figures and then another wave of 86 figures. Initially I did believe them to maybe give us a mix, however judging by the announcements it does appear as if though we are going to be getting 86 figures first and then live action figures. But taking a look here at Starscream, once again this here was a figure that I was not expecting them to announce anytime soon. I honestly thought that maybe we would be seeing a Bumblebee movie Soundwave before the likes of Starscream, and something which certainly took me by surprise is how extensive the retooling to this actual figure is. If you would have said to me before this reveal that we were getting this figure, I would have for sure had thought that maybe it would have been a slight retool, perhaps slight repaint to that of the SS Blitzwing. However, you can see here that basically this figure for the most part appears to be an entirely new sculpt. Judging by some of these images, the only areas of which I can tell are from Blitzwing is where the main cockpit region is concerned for the torso and of course the weaponry. However, everything else does appear to be completely brand new. I absolutely love the silver paint applications that we do get for the fin sections behind Starscream's head sculpt, and something to note is that they are not just reusing Blitzwing's head, they are indeed giving us an entirely new sculpt for that as well. I personally do believe that the reasoning behind why they have done so much extensive retooling to this release is because we are no doubt going to be getting multiple repaints of this into Thundercracker and then of course into Skywarp. I personally have no issues with this whatsoever, as the Blitzwing figure was an incredibly solid mould, as so does this one look here, and you can see that for the most part it looks pretty screen accurate to what we see in the movie. Of course, we unfortunately don't get a lot of screen time with Starscream in that of the Bumblebee movie. However, from what we can see, this here in robot mode looks very accurate. I love the colour variation as well. You can see that we've got some very bright red and blue paint applications, and I think that they all contrast really nicely with the grey plastic that we do get for the main bulk of the body. The figure also looks impeccably well painted as well. Most of the details that you do see surrounding the torso region does appear to be that of red paint application. Taking a closer look here at Starscream's head sculpt, honestly this is really where I think that the Studio Series figures shine, as the sculpt work is just so crisp and precise and is always so accurate to what we see on screen, and this sculpt here looks like no exception. You can see here that it looks very faithful to what we see in that very brief opening scene in the Bumblebee movie. I love the silver as well as red paint applications there for the eyes, and once again you can also see the magnificent sculpted in details that we have here for Starscream's forearms. I love the implementation of both blue plastic, silver paint application and of course grey plastic. You can also see that we've got some really awesome looking details where the actual cockpit region is concerned, and something worth noting is that judging by some of the hinge joints on this release, it does appear as if though it's going to have an incredibly complex conversion. I am aware that there are indeed some in-hand images of this figure, and judging by the number of steps on the back of the packaging, Starscream here definitely looks as if though he's going to have more steps than compared to that of Blitzwing. And talking of conversion, here we have Starscream fully transformed up into his CYBERTRONIAN Tetrajet alt mode. Now upon first seeing this, I have got to be honest and say that I thought that it was so ugly looking. I really didn't think that it looked all that great whatsoever. However, actually comparing it to some screen caps from that of the B movie and then of course some concept art, I can safely say that for the most part this looks pretty accurate to what we see on screen. This certainly does look as if though the transformation is going to be crazy. It could potentially be one of the most complex jet Transformers figures that we have seen in a very long time. You can see how we've got the arms which appear to wrap on the undersection there of the jet. The wings are in a very awkward position. Overall though, I do think that it looks pretty awesome. It's certainly a very unique looking jet and will no doubt stand out if you do decide to display it in that of his jet mode. I'm really looking forward to seeing as to what they can do with some of the repaints of this figure. I think that in black and then even in the Thundercracker colour scheme this could look absolutely awesome. But actually taking a look here at the Starscream mould, you can see that we do indeed get some null rays underneath there for the wings. We also do have the main blaster, which is a carryover from that of Blitzwing, situated on the underneath, which in my opinion I think the placement looks awesome. We can also see there some thrusters as well, which once again is a really nice attention to detail. However, something which I can for sure notice is that there does appear to be multiple hinge joints all over this figure, so I certainly do once again believe that he's going to have an incredibly complex conversion. However, the more complex the better in my opinion. So overall as a whole it certainly does look like a very interesting Transformers figure. However, I personally am just really looking forward to seeing as to what they will do with the likes of Soundwave and Shockwave, who of course didn't have an alt mode in the movie. And finally, to wrap things up, here we have Starscream pictured next to his backdrop, which does appear to be the exact same one that we did indeed see with the recently released Deluxe Class Cliff Jumper. So overall, some final thoughts. This release here certainly is an interesting one, and for sure does pique my interests into seeing as to what they could do with some of the other Cybertronian characters based on the Bumblebee movie. I personally am just so glad to see some live action figures once again announced for the Studio Series figures, and of course, as this figure has now been announced, I'm pretty sure that some other live action announcements will indeed be just around the corner, as of course this will be released as part of a later wave which is scheduled to hit shelves around April, whereas the 86 figures are scheduled to hit in January/February. So definitely a figure for sure worth looking out for, and of course if you are completing the Studio Series line, this one here is a must-have, and if you were a huge fan of the G1/live action aesthetic that we did get in the Bumblebee movie, I'm pretty sure that you are going to want to pick this figure up. So that just about wraps up my initial thoughts and analysis for this figure. Of course I will provide a full in-depth review when it does eventually release. I really do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do let me know down in the comment section below, and also be sure to let me know on what you think of this reveal. Are you happy that this is one of the first reveals that we are indeed seeing for the 2021 live action Studio Series figures, and whether or not you would have maybe had liked it to have been another character? I thank you all for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.